Hello, team. Welcome to today's presentation. We're focusing on values-based leadership. I am Rod. I'm here. I'll guide you through a little bit of my story, my background, and then talk about how we can be more efficient, effective, and happy as a collective team. A little bit about me. I've had a winding educational journey. I was the first person in my family to attend college. I was pretty proud of that fact. Since graduating, I've had other family members pass, but I was the first one to go through. Started out as a business major my freshman year. And I did take a gap year after the first year to save money and support my family. My family had some challenges they were going through, so I took a bit of time off to support them. I like to learn on the job. So during my gap year, I worked as a customer service agent at a local bank. It was a wonderful experience. Got to learn how to deal with people, customers, clients in a financial institution setting. And I uncovered an interest in financial literacy and guitar. At nights to unwind, I would practice some YouTube videos and learn how to play the guitar. So that was pretty fun. Eventually returned to school and graduated with a major in finance and a minor in music, both of which I'm very proud of. For a lot of today's conversation, we'll focus around growth, both personal growth and growth as a team and growth as a company. Um, is really important to call out that as members of this team, our personal goals are also collective goals, right? So um, I think we work in better harmony when those two things are aligned. Everyone should have their own personal goals, but we should also have our own collective goals and make sure that there's enough overlap there so that we can better meet the needs of both our company and our customers. And growth also to me means being a lifelong learner. You know, I like to have folks that both coach up and not just coach down. Everyone should be a leader. Everyone should be a teacher, and help each other out as we all grow together. A little bit of preface and background. It's really important to understand emotional intelligence and specifically self-awareness. Um, According to Mental Health America, emotional intelligence (EI) is the ability to manage your emotions and understand the emotions of people around you. So a lot of times, folks will think that it's really just having emotional intelligence when you deal with other folks, but it's also an internal-facing concept where you want to understand why am I angry, why am I happy, why am I upset, and really manage those things both in yourself so you can better manage your relationships with those around you. A couple key components of EI include self-awareness. That's the ability to see ourselves clearly, understand and live in alignment with our values, and accurately judge how other people view us. There's also emotional self-awareness that has a correlation with that, and that's the ability to recognize and understand emotions and how they impact behavior. To develop self-awareness, our team will take time to notice our emotions. As I mentioned before, you can't really interact and judge and work with other folks' emotions if you don't understand your own. Some signals of that include a rapid heart rate, tense muscles, maybe you've got neck pain, you're just not able to focus. Those are all signs of um, just awareness in your personal, how you're feeling, how you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Another nice key component that I'd like us to address is daily group check-ins. So carving out some time at the end of morning meetings to share any thoughts, concerns, and listen to the thoughts and concerns of others. I think that's really key for empathy. And give everyone grace. We all have tough days. Self-management. Self-management is the ability to manage emotions, maintain a positive outlook, and adapt to stressful and challenging situations. Really goes hand in hand with that self-assessment, right? So um, you need to know what your emotions are and then have a plan to manage them, right? So it might be if there's some frustration, just taking a step back, going for a walk, taking a break, finding something to reset your brain so you can come back with a fresh perspective and then hopefully a improved perception of the situation. To improve our self-management skills as well as our adaptability, our team will set realistic goals. It's good to have goals, and it's good to have goals that are realistic, right? So sometimes you'll set a goal that's too pie in the sky, unattainable, that kind of thing. Um, Make sure they're realistic, but make sure they're also push yourself a little bit. It's good to challenge yourself, but do it in an attainable manner. We'll also create a team action plan for some of the common challenges. This will help us prepare so that we can respond to stressful situations, and maintain control of our emotions, right? So stress obviously has a direct correlation with emotional triggers and emotional up highs and lows. Um, how can we address that as a team and help individuals out as they navigate those situations? And lastly, it's really important to take care of ourselves. So that means mental health, physical health, solid mind, sound body. There's a lot of sayings around that, but bringing your whole self and taking care of yourself to work every day makes everything else go a lot more smoother. Let's talk a little bit about social awareness. Social awareness generally is the ability to exercise empathy. So that's looking at recognizing the emotions of others and understanding what social dynamics went into those emotions, right? So sometimes that requires hearing the backstory of what brought them to their current emotional state. Doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to get in and steer to help them fix it, but just being supportive sometimes is enough to help someone kind of understand where they're at through empathy. To enhance our social awareness and our capacity for empathy, our team will do these things. Keep an eye out for burnout, both in yourself and others around you. The daily check-ins should help us communicate those feelings before they escalate. Um, but it's really on all of us, both as individuals and as a team, to keep an eye out for those signals and help each other through those situations. Active listening. I like to practice active listening whenever I can. Sometimes the solution isn't you just talking a lot. Sometimes the solution is just listening to what the other person's going through, um, and responding to those cues, like not being overly prescriptive, but being more supportive. Like, I understand that makes sense. Um, relating some of your own stories should end up building trust, respect, and relationships in the workplace. And number three, let's actively work against unconscious bias. I think a lot of folks I think it's universal. All people have that. You just grew up in a certain way within a certain setting in a certain culture. It's good to be aware of some things that you take from your earlier days that you bring into the everyday workplace that you're just not aware of. And so one way we can do that is to politely let others know if they are expressing any form of unconscious bias, and do it in a nice way and help just make the person aware so that they can work through that. More on unconscious bias, also known as cognitive bias. Those are social stereotypes about certain groups of people formed outside an individual's conscious awareness. And so, as I mentioned before, um, your personal perception of someone influences your judgment of their personality and performance. So, someone could be attractive, they could be different, look different than you, behave different than you, um, and that may affect your belief in how they'll do their job. So, it's important to be aware of that. Another form of that is groupthink. So it's kind of mob mentality. And so it comes from a need from folks to want to conform and not to rock the boat. And sometimes someone needs to say, hey, stand up and say, hey, this isn't right. Let's take a step back and rethink this. Don't be afraid to be the sole voice of reason in many situations. To manage healthy ethical relationships, our team will introduce unconscious bias training to build awareness, foster inclusivity, and support ethical decision making. Um, Ethics affect relationship management in a lot of ways. Our ethical foundation keeps us honest as individuals in relationships with coworkers and customers. It also helps limit favoritism and conflicts of interest. So um, you may have a personal bias towards a certain group of people, and that may influence who you hire or who you encourage to apply for a position. When we should really be looking at a wide, diverse pool of folks, regardless of um, any unconscious bias. So we need to be aware of that so we can root that out before it starts. And relationship management also can create a culture of care. I strongly believe that by investing in our relationships and revisiting our vision statement, um, we will over time work to understand what our work means to us, what our work means to the community, and to the people that make up the organization. And going back to that growth mechanism, it's important that we all grow, both growing as individuals, growing as a company. Um, and I think one way to do that is by caring about each other. In conclusion, an emotionally intelligent team is an effective team. I've got four bullets here that I think sum it up nicely. Self-awareness, being aware, giving honest feedback, respectful feedback, kind of creates a loop where you're self-aware, you help other people be more self-aware, that kind of thing. Self-management. So when you are aware of some issue or a feeling that you're possessing or having, take time to think about it. Reset, whatever it takes you to reset, is really important to help dial down some emotionally intense situations. Social awareness, obviously communicating with empathy and care for one another, being aware of their situation. Even you may not know how their morning was or their night before was, but you still need to come to work with empathy and care for your coworkers. And relationship management. Talked a lot about unconscious bias, but just actively being aware of that bias and proactively working to limit that. And in doing so, you will be able to address conflict and create a culture of care for one another and the work we produce. That's it for today. Thank you all. Happy to answer any questions at this time.